A priceless statue disappeared from a world stage, leaving no trace. It was May 1967, and Montreal was a city ablaze with innovation and optimism, hosting Expo 67, a universal exposition-themed man and his world. Millions flocked to marvel at technological wonders, cultural exhibits, and artistic masterpieces from across the globe. Among these treasures was a sculpture known as the Genius of Mankind, a striking bronze piece by French artist Paul Béliveau. This particular sculpture wasn't just another exhibit. It was a centerpiece, a symbol of human potential. Standing approximately 3 feet tall and weighing a substantial 150 pounds, it depicted a figure poised, almost leaping, embodying the very spirit of the exposition. Its value was estimated at a considerable 25,000 Canadian dollars at the time, a sum that would be significantly higher today. The statue was part of the French pavilion's art collection, housed within a secure, custom-built display case. This wasn't some minor trinket left in the open. It was an artwork afforded the typical protections of a high-value exhibit. Security measures were in place. Guards patrolled the grounds, and the pavilion itself was locked down after hours. The night of May 17, 1967 began like any other at Expo. The crowds dispersed, the lights dimmed, and the pavilion settled into their nightly slumber. Guards made their rounds, and the French pavilion was secured. Yet, by the morning of May 18th, when staff arrived to prepare for another day of public viewing, the Genius of Mankind was gone. The discovery sent ripples of disbelief through the Expo 67 administration and the French delegation. A major artwork, stolen from a supposedly secure international exhibition. It was an embarrassment, a breach of trust on a global stage. The initial investigation began immediately, with a sense of urgency befitting the high-profile nature of the event. Investigators found no forced entry into the French pavilion. The doors were locked, the windows intact. This immediately suggested an inside job, or at the very least, a thief with an intimate knowledge of the pavilion's layout and security protocols. The display case itself, however, showed signs of tampering, indicating it had been carefully opened, not smashed. The sheer weight of the sculpture, 150 pounds, posed a significant challenge for any lone thief. Moving it discreetly without attracting attention would have required considerable planning, if not an accomplice. This detail pointed towards a more sophisticated operation than a spontaneous act of petty theft. The police interviewed security guards, cleaning staff, and pavilion employees. No one reported seeing anything suspicious. The vastness of the Expo site, with its labyrinthine pathways and numerous pavilions, also presented a logistical nightmare for tracking any potential getaway. It was like finding a needle in a haystack, a very large, well-attended haystack. One theory posited that the thief, or thieves, might have concealed the statue within the pavilion until opening hours, then walked out with it disguised. Imagine trying to carry a 150-pound bronze sculpture, even if wrapped, through a throng of delighted tourists without drawing a single glance. It seems improbable, yet the lack of forced entry necessitated unusual explanations. Another line of inquiry focused on the possibility of the statue being smuggled off the island of Notre Dame, where the French pavilion was located. The island was accessible by bridges and a monorail. Could it have been loaded onto a vehicle, perhaps a maintenance van, and driven off the premises under the cloak of night or early morning confusion? The sheer audacity of the crime, combined with the lack of immediate leads, began to fuel speculation. Was it a professional art thief commissioned by a private collector? Or was it an act of protest, a political statement aimed at France or the Expo itself? The motives, like the methods, remained shrouded in mystery. The media, both local and international, latched onto the story. The Genius of Mankind became a symbol not just of human achievement, but of human fallibility. Headlines questioned the effectiveness of Expo's security and the vulnerability of priceless art, even on the world's grandest stage. The French government, understandably, put pressure on Canadian authorities to recover their property. Despite extensive searches, rewards offered, and a wide-ranging police investigation, the Genius of Mankind was never found. No arrests were ever made in connection with the theft. The trail went cold remarkably quickly, leaving investigators with more questions than answers. The incident cast a subtle shadow over the otherwise triumphant Expo 67. While the exposition was a resounding success, attracting over 50 million visitors, the unsolved theft served as a stark reminder of the ever-present challenges in protecting valuable assets, even in the most secure environments. It was a fly in the ointment of an otherwise perfect celebration. Decades passed and the mystery endured. Occasionally, a new lead would surface, a rumor, a tip. Each time, hopes would briefly ignite, only to be extinguished as the information proved to be unreliable or a dead end. The statue seemed to have simply vanished into thin air, leaving behind only its ghost story. The question of where the genius of mankind might be today remains a persistent enigma. Could it be gracing the private collection of some eccentric, clandestine art enthusiast, hidden away from public view? Or was it, perhaps, melted down for its bronze, a tragic end for a piece of art that symbolized so much? The latter scenario, though grim, is not unheard of in the world of art theft. When high-profile pieces become too difficult to sell or display, their intrinsic material value sometimes becomes their ultimate undoing. The bronze alone, in 1967, would have been worth a fraction of its artistic value, but perhaps enough for a desperate thief. Yet, for a theft of this scale and context from a World's Fair, the idea of it being destroyed seems almost antithetical to the nature of such a calculated risk. Art thieves often operate with a degree of reverence for the art itself, even if their actions are illegal. The motivation is typically profit or the prestige of ownership. The unsolved disappearance of the genius of mankind stands as one of the most intriguing cold cases in the history of art theft. It highlights the vulnerability of even the most protected objects and the enduring mystery that can surround a meticulously planned, yet seemingly untraceable, crime. Expo 67 was a marvel of human ingenuity, and ironically, it also hosted a testament to human cunning. The legacy of the vanished statue is a quiet whisper within the grand narrative of Expo 67. While the exposition is celebrated for its groundbreaking architecture and optimistic spirit, the theft reminds us that even moments of global unity and progress can harbor shadows, where the extraordinary can simply, inexplicably, disappear. What other audacious thefts might be hiding in the annals of history?